And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Credit Authority. Super excited for today's guest. I recently met Joel Puthoff when I was out in California filming for an amazing show, Go Fund Yourself. And I met Joel, and I had to have him on our show today because he's not just innovative and creative, and he's super smart. And I'm just gonna plug you for a minute. I'm gonna put your book up here so people can see you're also an author. But Joel, awesome to have you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rhonda.
You're like super, I'm high energy. You just bring it to a whole other level. So, we have you for a full show today. I'm going to take that to my advantage. Let's talk about, for starters, who you are and how you got involved in human performance, which led you to actually writing your book.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been passionate about sports. I played, sports throughout my career. And as I, got into my late 20s and early 30s, it was like, how do I keep this going? And I was also training entrepreneurs and some CEOs at that time. So I was training a lot of business and I was like, man, I'm missing something. I'm missing, really this human performance, how to, upregulate your brain, how to, keep yourself in shape, how to handle intense, businesses as a CEO, as an entrepreneur. How do you handle the chaos? And through all of that, it took me so deep into human performance components, optimization, hidden wisdoms of the world that, weren't taught in your typical public schools. And the more I uncovered, the more curious I got. And the more I uncovered, the more curious I got. And then all of a sudden, bam, I'm writing a book. And 4 years later, I published a book. And since I've even published the book in 2021, I've gone so much deeper into, who we are as beings and how we evolve, how we can evolve ourselves to be able to capture our most abundant self.
Do you find, and I say it like this from almost a personal space, when you are on your journey and you're discovering more about who you are, I think it really becomes something that you have to adapt to. Did you find that the people you spent your time with changed?
Yeah, it was, I definitely went through my own trials and tribulations as an entrepreneur. And, my friends were all doing, starting some families, and I was deep into my next business. And as I was upregulating myself, a lot of my friends weren't doing that. They weren't evolving or leveling up, however you want to put it. And so you almost find new friends on that journey. You're like, hey, you're also into this. You're also into this. My old friends aren't really into this. And these are the things I'm passionate about and want to talk about and I'm curious about. And so you're spending less time with maybe some of your older friends, and you're finding new friends that are kind of on this new journey with you, because that's how you grow. And that's really where our company Linksy is today. We have a team of 17, and at least 13 or 14 of us are like crazy about human performance and optimization. And so we challenge each other, and we actually have a fun even meeting this afternoon where we're getting together. And it's like a challenge session from different departments in our company, a couple different entrepreneurs in our company. But yeah, you gotta find, the further you level up, as some say, the more you want to like level up and find new network connections. And that's why I'm so passionate about, human connection and finding your vibrational people, no matter what pursuit you're on.
To some, like myself, I've never had the time to really focus on learning more about human performance. I am high energy, like you and I have spent
Big
time
time.
if somebody like myself was coming to you to be a mentor, where would you start somebody like myself who's interested and knows the importance of human performance, especially for again, we use the word entrepreneur, especially for an entrepreneur. Where would you start somebody if you were to be a mentor?
Yeah, well, everybody's different, first of all, and everybody's got a different situation. They've got different pasts, maybe different traumas, maybe different challenges. And so, first off, everybody is different. So, you got to get to know each one of your clients, and you've got to understand where they are today, what made them who they are today, what their goals are. And so, some person might want to go this way, some person might want to go that way. And you've got to first figure out, like, is there a marriage there? Is there alignment with your coaching and that client and what they're trying to uncover? And then it's really about understanding, deeper into their goals, and how you can help them, chase these by, initiating, different habit stacking. And so I call it habit stacking. There's, there's probably 10 habits that I'm super passionate about, but of those 10, six of them might only work for you, Rhonda. And, for another person, four of them might be optimal, or all 10 of them might be for an individual based off their goals. And so really it's like understanding, where they are, what their goals are. And then we don't want to, add 10 new habits. We want one new habit that's going to help you. And once you accomplish that and you gain progress in that habit, you naturally gain this like self-love and confidence that, man, I'm doing this. And then it almost becomes addicting. You want to add another one. Okay, what's the next potent, habit that we can add to your stack? And then as you start to add habits in this habit stack, you also start to think about, what are the non-negotiables that I've got to accept? Because if you're out here working hard and you're waking up early and you're fasting or working out, and then you're eating Doritos at night, and or whatever it might be, which is me sometimes. It's uh once you're like deep into this habit stacking, you really want to, quiet some of these things that are suppressing your growth. And so it's a combination of, building this habit stack, but also like quieting building the non-negotiables. And that's like really leaning into the self-love and human performance and unlocking, different levels that you possess, each individual possesses.
Yeah, and I love that. And what happens, at least for myself, I don't know if this happens for you, and it's not just for me, but I'll say my family, my unit. There are times my husband is on a journey and I am not on that journey at the same time. So
Mhm.
we're fighting each other. He's in, I want to do a 72, hour fast, and I want to eat ice cream for 72 hours straight. We go back and forth. So when you are, thinking about habit stacking, how important is it that whatever your unit is, how important is that to the process?
When you say unit, can you describe that?
Yeah, so just more like, I say unit more, my family. It could be your work environment, your family, your friends. You really need, I think, that support in order for you to excel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and luckily for me, I'm one of eight kids. I've got a unit behind me, and I've got a team that supports me, and they're in a way like cheering me on. I've also got some strong friends and family that, support you, because there's plenty of haters out there that hate when people are leveling up. So along your level up journey, you're going to have some of those friends that want to pull you down. So having that unit and that support system is helpful in building that community. But your question with the unit.
Like I am probably the worst person for my husband to be around when he wants to try to do anything, because
Gotcha.
I'm the person who's fighting him. Sorry to put my dirty laundry out there, but I'm the person fighting him saying, Stephen, no, we're going to do this. And he's on this journey and I am like a naysayer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so there's definitely going to be, we all have different levels of distractions and people that want to do this with this and this, and really having focus and discipline on your journey is so critical. So that discipline is critical, and there's always going to be activities. We're all dopamine junkies out here in the world, like trying to have experiences and have fun and eat this and try this, and through that, if you're on your own journey and somebody else is on a different journey at a different time in a different place, you've really got to battle through the distraction of that and say, hey, I've got to like stay on this is my plan for the day, and I'm going to stay on it without sometimes getting pulled. And we're all weak. Like I have so many bad days that I just went through almost a 2-day fast myself because I had to like reset and rechannel my energy because I got a little bit off with friends and family, which is what we all should do at times. But if you really want to take that next step, you got to find a way to reset, get back in your channel, and get the momentum going, because really it's about momentum. And that's what I talk a lot about in my book. There's 5 prime capabilities that we have the ability to actually evolve as humans, and confidence is one of those. And if you can generate evolution in these 5 prime capabilities, you can find a way to maximize your momentum. And momentum, that is what people salivate for. When you get momentum, it brings self-love, it brings confidence, it brings all this energy your way. And life happens and we lose that momentum sometimes. And you got to find ways to get back on track and get that momentum working for you again.
I love it. So, just for everybody who is listening, Capability Fuel is the name of your book. Now, do you think if somebody reads this once, is this the kind of book that somebody should read every time they need a reset?
No, this is a book I think you read once, maybe twice. You can reference. I think there's some great notes in there. And essentially, I studied what I thought were the best 100 books around human, science, performance, whether it's molecular biology, personal development. There's a little bit of business in there, but it's really like a framework that you can install for how to approach life and level up your habits and level up your life.
I love it. So, once again, for everybody that is tuned in, we are speaking to Joel Puthoff, and I want to pivot. I love this topic, but I only have you for limited time today. So, let's pivot a little bit and talk about innovation and creativity. Like, tell me a little bit about, what sparks you and gets you moving.
Yeah, I'm first of all, I've become such a curious human, and I think that curiosity has really been sparked with what I've learned since my, public school education and my good college education at Wittenberg University. But that curiosity really took full effect when I became an entrepreneur, and I started, trying to figure out, how do I do this and how do I do this? And the more I uncovered, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this progress and these learnings that I'm gaining are really turning my excitement on to like understanding how to perform at a high level. And I think creativity really, has to be expressed. And so I think in life, there are many people that don't get to express their creativity. And if you have the opportunity to express your creativity on a daily, you almost build that muscle. And a lot of people in life, I truly believe there's a lot of, studies and people talking about this recently that, people aren't able to express their creativity every day. And it really like almost kills this spirit inside of you. And so being able to find that outlet, whether it's in your professional life, luckily I've been able to find it in my professional life, or whether it's, a side thing that you're doing to express your creativity, you know, being creative every day is a way to like bring your soul to life, is to let that light out. And it's one about, you know, exercising that muscle, but it's two about, gaining the knowledge. And, with 15 years of experience in my background in building companies and leading sales teams and, writing a book in science, I've gained a lot of wisdoms. And so if you can combine that curious knowledge that you're capturing with your creativity muscle development, that's really where I think innovation, starts to come to form. But then the next step, not just on your own journey, is being able to collaborate in style. And some people look at life and humans as competitors and, oh my gosh, like I don't want to tell my idea. But the best innovators in the world are amazing leaders and collaborators. And this is where human performance comes in a little bit. People want to follow somebody stronger than themselves. So you got to like level yourself up so that people believe in you in a way. Because if you don't have terrible habits, people will be like, I don't want to follow this person necessarily. But if you're somebody that's an amazing leader and you have great ideas and you're able to lead them effectively with how you present yourself in life, people will come along on your journey and help you innovate, because doing innovation by yourself is almost worthless. Like, don't even, it's hard to innovate by yourself. You need great minds around you, because an idea is just an idea, but an idea worked with several people, that is something that can really take shape for the world compared to just something from your own perspective.
I think one of the things that we haven't spoken about yet is your background. You have built several businesses. You are a creative and you are an innovator. Tell everybody a little bit about your background and what's led you to be where you are today, which is where I met you, which we'll focus on in a few about Linksy. But what's your background? I mean, I know your story, but share it.
Yeah, yeah. One of 8 kids, went to college for baseball. And while I was there, I'm like, what am I going to do? And I got into math. And then I was like, am I really going to be a math teacher, engineer? Like, what am I going to do here? And I found this entrepreneur development program in college. And I ran a business while I was in college, paid my way through school. Baseball gave me some good money, but running this business for 2.5 years in college, gave me all these like applicable skills and knowledge that I was taking into the classroom then. And I felt like, man, I'm learning at a higher level in the classroom because I'm actually out here doing it. And I'm, gaining customers and I'm hiring employees. And that really sparked it. I really got this entrepreneur bug in college. And right after college, I got like different jobs in sales and medical sales. And I actually forewent that. And the company that I was working with as an intern in college gave me an opportunity to start a new division for this entrepreneur development program. And I moved it down to the Carolinas and started a new region for the company. And so it's kind of like a franchise model. You work into the equity of the company. And so I took my 2.5 years of experience of running a business and coaching a couple college students to run a business, one of which was my brother. I taught him my younger brother, how to run his first business. And then I moved down to the Carolinas from Ohio and left the cold weather for greener lands in a way. And I moved to the Carolinas and 2 universities. I essentially pitched like 7 universities, like, hey, I can train your college students how to run their own business. And the majority of them were like, get out of here, you 23-year-old. And 2 of them, the University of South Carolina and Chapel Hill, were both like, we'll give you an opportunity. And so I started working with those 2 universities. And 7 years later, I was working with 12 universities, and universities were calling me to coach their students how to start their own small company. And the majority of the students ran a house painting business. That's like the standard, business. It's a low entry to business. There's like no barriers to entry into that business. Painting's really easy. We could teach them how to paint for a couple of days. And so essentially in my 20s, I cut my teeth in, training entrepreneurship and training sales and training team development and training hustle. And that's where I was so focused on all these business books in my 20s. And that's where it really took a shift as I like hit 30 into this human performance. Like, man, if I want to be coaching the highest level CEOs and entrepreneurs, I've really got to be focusing on how to coach them in terms of their habits and how to level up and how to handle the chaos, and not to get into quantum energy and all of that, but it's, my journey started as coaching entrepreneurs. And then after a little bit, I like built that company, and my full-time employees, they like took over that company for me. And I was still like the lead trainer and training the large conferences. But I started my own sales consulting company and construction company while like leading that a little bit, like 5 hours a week. I started a consulting company. I started getting interest from different organizations that wanted me to come in and help them build their sales teams and revenue. And I learned from some different sales consulting firms out of Charlotte and some different ones across the country that were training me to coach different sales teams. And then I opened my own sales consulting firm called Fortune 5 Consulting. And I just worked with different organizations while building this construction company that went hand in hand with the first entrepreneur development company. I was getting leads from that within construction. And then I hired somebody to like run that business. That person that I hired ended up buying that business from me. And I got out of the blue collar, house flipping and construction business. Wasn't really my passion necessarily, but I made some good money. I learned a lot. And I just really wanted to focus on what I was working on at that point, which was my sales consulting firm. I was getting into some different tech companies. And I started to write my book, and this is like 2019. And I got really passionate about like human performance and getting like overly healthy and mental well-being and what people were challenged with then. And that's where the idea for Linksy really started, was in 2019. I built my first prototype for Linksy to start 2020. I was supposed to pitch March 26, 2020 in Greenville, South Carolina at a big Next event with my prototype and my first terrible pitch deck that I've ever had. And COVID shut it down 10 days beforehand. And so it was a wild time. But the pandemic started, and I got so deep into what was going on then. And my book was about human performance, but we were going through this like human de-evolution at that point. It was kind of a chaotic time where some of the best scientists and human performance biohackers of the world were almost getting like deplatformed, and my mind was like perplexed. And I was still leading sales consulting firm a little bit, but my passion was shifting towards human optimization and seeing the world get divided. And it really started to take shift there. And I invented a product in that time that kills COVID. I don't even know if I can say that on a podcast. Can I say that word these days anymore? Yeah, but I invented a product. I just got my patent actually like 2 weeks ago in hand. And And so that's a different business that I have this product and one partner in. And so I've kind of been all over the map. Some could say I'm all over the map with some different businesses and ideas. I'm super passionate and curious about, bringing businesses to life. But early in my career, I'd say my first 14 years was really focused on businesses that already exist, and I can run that business. And, there's already playbooks out there. You can go to YouTube and start almost any type of company. But then in, the last like 5 years, I've gotten very innovative and creative, and I've really been trying to express that creative muscle with my book. And that I learned, how to unlock your creative selves and tap into different parts of your brain and your mind, and really like channel a different type of consciousness of seeing problems in the marketplace. Of where I am today is now I want to find problems in the marketplace that aren't being solved well, and I want to find unique solutions to those, and then make the decision: do I really want to go on this journey of inventing and building this company? And with Linksy, it's my baby. I feel like it's 17 years of my career of, understanding human desires and experiences. Event software is falling short of really facilitating the real-time connections, and then understanding human connection, the power of human connection through my book. That was just one of the main chapters of the book of what can really help humans thrive and flourish is human connection. But during the pandemic, it was perpetuated isolation, and now we live in this digital connection world, which is like the illusion of connection. Even though we're having a nice connection engagement here, I know our experience in person, we would prefer to do this in person.
Just for everybody, once again, we are speaking with Joel Puthoff. Want to switch because I know you and this happened when we were out in California together too. It's two people going back and forth, back and forth. You really have a strength in team building. Do you think it's because of your constant creativity and innovation? I'm the person that needs to sit back, and I'm always looking, and you said it already. You're always looking at what problem can be solved. I don't think that everybody out there is a creative. I don't think everybody out there is a leader. So how do you utilize your skill set to build these dynamic teams that work with you?
Yeah, I think track record and building trust with people is obviously a huge part of it. And so if you have past experiences with people that have been delightful and great experiences professionally, they have contacts that are more willing to work with you. People are still going to assess you as a leader, but this comes back a little bit to the human performance. They're going to, just as much as you're assessing a candidate to work for your company, they're assessing you like, do I want to work for this individual, or partner with this individual, or collaborate with this individual? And the higher level people that you want to be able to attract to your company and hire, it's going to expect a higher level of you to be able to attract that person, because nobody wants to work with somebody weaker than themselves. They want to level up. They want somebody to lift them up with them. And that's really what a leader's job is. A leader is, in charge of, presenting the vision, offering a safe place to work, where they can make great money, but you really got to understand the goals of the individual. And so let's say I was interviewing Patrick, and Patrick has certain goals in his life where he wants to go to point A. Well, if our company is going to point B, I can sell him on a bad dream for his life. Or I could say, you know what, Patrick, I don't really see the alignment with your goals and our goals. But what you really want to do is you want to attract people that have, outcomes that you can deliver with your company. And so, if I'm interviewing Sandra now, and Sandra says, well, I want to learn these skills, and I want to develop this way, and I want to make this money, and here's the missions that I'm passionate in life, and there's alignment with your company, with your leadership, and what she desires, then you should be able to figure out a creative plan for how you guys can work together. And that's where you can even, sometimes you might have to hire a great employee. You might have to pay them $200,000 or $150,000. Other times it could be, you could pay them that same person $60,000 with equity to help you bring that business to life if there's alignment. But if there's no alignment, they're just going to be there to work for the money, and whatever else they're there to work for. But really, it's finding people that are aligned to work with your goals and dreams, that have different skill sets than what you have. And so I'll kind of stop there because we could go in so many different directions, but I'll let you guide that.
I'm wondering, like, when you're training and you're hiring people, do you ever use personality training systems?
Yeah, that's part of what we're building right now with Linksy is this human connection using personalities. And so I've used different personality tests out there, the DISC ones, the Enneagrams, to learn your employees better and understand what drives them and what moves them. And some of those are good. You know, some of those frameworks are good for understanding what type of person you're working with. But I also think just learning to be like genuinely interested in your team and the people that you're interviewing to find out, is there alignment, what is their motives, and how do I find, like, I don't want to work with, I don't care how great of performer it is. If this Patrick guy is an amazing worker and a great performer and he's helping grow my company, but he's also an asshole and he's like turning the company wrong, that's not somebody I want to work with. Like, culture is so critical. So being able to find the right people to get on the bus with you, and as they say in some of these, EOS books, entrepreneur operating system books, getting the right people on the bus and getting them in the right seat, and then helping create the plan and initiative for their work, and then collaborating through friction and whatever you have to go through, the challenges that, no great diamond is ever formed from no friction. It's actually like all that friction creates a diamond, but you've got to have the right minds and the right attitudes in the company to be able to create that. And that's the job of the CEO or the visionary, to be able to pull those teams together and to be able to almost facilitate the team and to give people, a platform to be heard and be seen and express and show their, God-given talents or their professional talents that they developed, and not be that person that has to be in control all the time. Like, you want to find ways to elevate your team members and pull them up with you. And that's just something I'm really passionate about. And it really starts with human development. It all comes back to who you are and how you're evolving, because everybody wants to, follow somebody stronger than themselves.
And I love that, because so much of that is true. I own several businesses. I deal with entrepreneurs every day, and you can hire people to fulfill certain gaps, but a toxic relationship will kill your business, right? Because the good ones will leave, because you and I might be okay with understanding that friction happens, but not everybody is suited for the challenge and the arguments, right? They go home and they cannot process and filter what just happened throughout the course of that day. So
Yeah.
a lot, it is a lot to put a good team together. If you were tasked with having to hire for a team, what do you think the top three identifiers would be for you to determine who you're hiring and why?
Yeah. Well, one, it would be, what skill are they value are they bringing to the company? It's critical that what position you need to fill in your company and what skill sets you need to seek. And so first, you need to find the right, the person for the right seat. You need to find the right skill set of an individual. That's where it starts. You build a job description and you find somebody that meets that archetype for what they can produce. But besides that, I think your question is more focused on, like the attitude of the individual and can they handle, a challenged environment. And if your company wants to be great, you have to create a safe environment for challenging. And so attitude is so critical. How are people handling difficult situations? How are people being, when they are challenged, how are they handling that? Are they handling it professionally, or are they like emotionally out of whack? And so attitude to me is like critical. Personally, I think the majority of positions are communicative. I think communication is so key and critical in every organization that even my engineers at Linksy are like amazing communicators, that I value communication so much when I hire. But there are some roles where communication doesn't have to be a top three. But to me, I think great communicators are better leaders, and that leadership component. At Linksy right now, I actually think of our 17 people, I think we have 11 leaders. And in a way, that's like almost a problem. We have so many leaders. It's like, how do you let everybody showcase their leadership skills in a way? That's a great problem to have. And so, finding the right role, skill set, attitude, communication, leadership, and then like, grit, are they hungry? Do they really have like motivation to be successful? And, is there that alignment? I really would love to end that, answer with the alignment. If there's alignment with your organization and what goals that you can help them fulfill and accomplish along the way, then you just got to be smart enough to figure out a creative, contract with them to be able to serve them as well as serve the organization mission that you have.
I love it. So once again, for everybody tuned in and listening, we are with Joel Puthoff today. We are getting ready to go into our final segment of our show. And it would not be a show if we did not speak about Linksy. We've mentioned it a few times in the show, but let's dive in. Tell everybody about Linksy, the value of Linksy. I'm excited. I'm passionate for you about your technology, but tell everybody a little bit about the history and what you're looking to do.
Yeah, from my years of training sales professionals and entrepreneurs, I've trained thousands to literally go to events, networking, conferences, trade shows. And I'm like a social extrovert, enthusiast
Oh,
myself.
not you.
Uh, yeah, right. And I would be at coffee shops or co-working facilities or festivals, even outside of the professional venues. And I would be like, man, I bet there's great collaborations around me. I bet there's great connections around me. And yes, we live in this world where you only see people in the physical form, and then you got to go through small talk and maybe some awkwardness to like find your best connections. And after years of training salespeople and entrepreneurs to find and discover these people at larger events, I learned that the top 1 or 2% of salespeople, they were great at, doing 24 hours worth of preparation before an event to find, I've got to meet Rhonda when I get here. Here's what she looks like. Here's what she does. Here's what she wants to talk about. And I'm like, why is no software? After downloading at least 15 to 20 different event softwares, and I'm like, none of these are fulfilling what event attendees want the most, which is they want to connect with the right people when they get there. And I'm like, why is nobody solving this? And at this time, Pokemon Go came out and really proved out this location-based entertainment model. But they did 500 million in their first 60 days, and then people slowly got tired of fighting Pokemons. I just met somebody 2 weeks ago that's still playing Pokemon Go. And I'm like, okay, it's still alive. That's good. But one thing that's not going to die is human connection. And when I was writing my book, I learned so much about how we are like these electrical magnetic beings. Like we thrive in the right environments, and that's why community and connection is so powerful. And so, the event software is falling short. Location-based entertainment, like humans want human connection. People desire this. They're like salivating for it today. But in this world, we have this like divisive world where everybody's seeing each other, in this physical form, and that, they see people for their race or their color or whatever it might be. There's so many things that are dividing us. And I believe that humans are way more alike than unlike. We have way more similarities, and I've had those experiences where you like walk by somebody and they're wearing like a Cincinnati Bengals hoodie, and you're like, Bengals, what's up? And you feel that connection. I've also spoke at weddings where you connect the whole room and you say a couple things and everybody's like, wow, I feel so connected. And I feel like there's no product out there that is really, bringing life to rooms and in spaces and helping people with like situational awareness and social power in real time. And that's what we really brought to life with Linksy, is this real-time connection software. It's a live location and event connection platform that, you find the action using our software. You can find where people are gathering that day, what events are happening. And then once you get to that event, it's like check-in technology, geolocation technology. It says, hey, you were at this festival, or you're at this event, or you're at this coffee shop. Do you want to go live? And when you go live, which is like a different type of live, everything now we think of live as online, which is kind of crazy. Live is where the action is. And Linksy's like redefining what live means. It's like bringing people into these spaces and then go live, and it pulls up this event dashboard, and each individual designs their own color connecting system within Linksy. We built this unique color connecting system where you're choosing keywords that you want to connect to other people on. And, for me, it could be investing and human performance and optimization and conspiracy theories or whatever it might be that I want to connect to people on to have like intriguing conversations. And when I get to that venue and I go live, it tells me like Rhonda also wants to talk about human performance and investing in business and whatever it might be. I know you're deep into finance and some other things. And so it's a way to use keywords to find your best connections at an event so that like in the past, all these rooms of opportunity, instead of walking out of a room and being like, I made one or two maybe good connections amongst 300 people, Linksy's goal is to make sure that you make your best 10 connections while you're there.
Love
So
it.
that when you leave, it's like you don't even need a business card. You just go there and Linksy does the work for you. And the goal isn't to be on your phone the whole time. The goal is to be like, holy cow, I need to talk to Rhonda. Here's a picture of her face. Here's what she wants to talk about that I also want to talk about. There she is. I want to go talk to her. You can message her in the app. But really, what we want to do is we want to use tech to lose tech. So we just want to empower you to break the ice with something you're both authentically aligned with.
And I think and we've spoken about this, I have been in so many environments and circles, and I'm going to an event. And if I'm taking the time to go, especially in a business and professional environment, I don't have all day to find those best connections.
Yeah.
And what you find is, oh, let me talk to you about my hair product, my skin product. Let me talk to you about this MLM. Let me talk to you about this. So my time is getting taken away by people that will just want to sell when
Yeah.
I want to take my time to find a few people that I can connect with, genuinely connect with, because we want to work with the people that we like, eventually we trust, and we want to spend time with. So what I loved about Linksy, because as you know, I downloaded the app and I've played around in it myself, is exactly you're saying. I could be at a Linksy event and say there are 200 people in this room, but I've identified 10 that have the same core values. And it doesn't matter what they do for a living. Let the conversation start with, can we get along? Right?
Yeah.
Can we
It's
get
like,
along? You want to work with people you like.
amen. Yeah. How do we strip away the masks that people wear, the titles that make people feel like they're better than other people? And that's really where we're so passionate about. Like, we're so much more alike than unlike. There's so many similarities. There's so many authentic conversations we really want to connect on. And that's really what we're bringing to life. And if you've been to a Linksy event, the social integration, I've had bartenders and DJs and the event host being like, this is nutty. Like, what is going on here? Everybody's talking to everybody. And that's the reality. People jump into the events and they're like, holy cow, I need to talk to them. I need to talk to her. I need to talk to him. And it's like, there's no more guessing games. There's no more of like, I don't know who to talk to, social anxiety. It's like stripped away. We like strip away these invisible barriers that hold humans back from, stepping out of their comfort zone at an event. Like step one is getting to the event. And step two is now who the heck do I talk to and not waste my time and fall into a 20, 30-minute conversation where somebody's going to sell me, to your point, and stay like, how do I find the people that I came to this event to connect with?
And I love that. And I know that right now Linksy is growing. So tell everybody, how do they become a Linksy event space? How do they download the app? How do they find more information? And more importantly, if you're an investor and you're tuned in, you're still in fundraising mode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let's
I'll start with the fundraising. We just launched. We funders. So we have a family and friends like crowdfunding pre-seed round that we're about to close next week. There's, I think exactly 7 days, 8 days left for that to be utilized. But we're talking to some larger VCs, and we've bootstrapped this up until now. With besides the little bit of family and friends money we've raised with me and one of my other entrepreneur friends that are building this company, Leo Adams. And so we've really bootstrapped this and built the software, and our product is ready. And the product for the users, it's free. You can jump on and go to any events and find action and experiences. But for the event host and the event partners, those locations, we do Really, there's three products. There's for community leaders, there's for business locations, and there's for event hosts. You can build communities in our app similar to like Discord, Facebook groups, and our business owners have these communities that people opt into their community. So it's a way for businesses and event hosts to stay closer and build community within our software. But really, the two core products are location services, like managing your location and who's coming into your spaces and how do you build that connection and community at your business. And so we have Linksy locations. They pay anywhere from $150 to $250 a month to be a Linksy location. And then we help drive traffic. We help drive engagement and experiences in their spaces. We help promote their business online. We help them tell their story, and we have unique ways that we're about to launch for them to offer perks to their customers. And so that's a Linksy location. Think of it as like a Snapchat map, but it's an action map. Instead of like seeing where your friends are on the map, it's finding out where people are gathering, what events they're going to in that moment or that weekend, and where people are like RSVPing and planning to gather, so that you can be like, oh, I can go there and I don't even need a friend. I'm just going to go there by myself. You go with friends, which is great, or you can just go there by yourself and you can find social interaction in the snap of a finger, and it's really fueled. It's like the ultimate icebreaker app. But really, for the event host, we also, similar to like a meetup, we have like the ticketing software, RSVP to your event, getting people to the event. But also what we offer on top of this ticketing software is we offer that the analytics for the event, like what people are most interested in. So organizers of events in our software, they can see like, holy cow, we have 200 people coming. I thought they wanted to talk about this coming, but this is actually what they want to talk about. This is what they're passionate about. And how can I organize my event better with these data analytics, as well as we have this follow-up component. We think the follow-up is broken, and the follow-up after the event, everybody can still connect for 7 days. So even if you don't you just go live there and you don't make your best connections while you're there, you can still do it after the event as long as you went live at that event. And we give our event host and our event partners the ability to create, really engaging events and to understand who their attendees are at a higher level, so that they can organize and facilitate, higher level events.
I love it. What is the website, or what is the app, so people know exactly how to download it?
Yeah, it's Linksy, LINXY.live. So www.linksy.live. LINXY.
I love it. Well, once again, everybody, we had Joel Puthoff on today. Joel, thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you real soon at the next Linksy event. So until next time, everybody, stay tuned. We're getting ready to bring you information on next week's guest.